Today is Friday, August 14th, 2020. It is 40 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a very hot day, very sunny day. I am Ajay Jadhav and I will record myself on personal voice recorder. I will speak on the subject of Stay Out of Trouble, Part 8. So we have been trying to explore and understand the nature of imagination called trouble. I am sitting in the park under the tree. It's a really hot day today. I don't see any people here. It's very deserted. Nobody came because it's a hot day. The area of the park I'm sitting, I don't see any human around me. Again, I'm not so far from the street, so once in a while I hear cars passing by. So let's try to get into meditation. I'm sitting under the tree. I'm just folding my legs, simply sitting on the grass. So let us try to enter into meditation and begin thinking on how to stay out of trouble. I have explained earlier the process of thinking. There are two types of thinking. The one which we are using or utilizing is thinking in meditation, contemplation in meditation, in order to enter into meditation. So that is thinking in meditation. And the second type of thinking is when we are not trying to enter into meditation. So in meditation we are awake, we know what we are doing. Like I am trying to enter into meditation at the time of this very recording. I know what I am doing. I am awake. So when I am thinking how to enter into meditation, and I am thinking while entering into meditation, that is the type 1, number 1, thinking in meditation. And number 2 is when I am not entering into meditation, I am doing other tasks, like I am driving, I am eating, I am trying to sleep or sleeping, when I am dreaming in sleep, when I am reading book, newspaper, when I am listening to music, when I am dancing in a party, when I am dancing in temple during devotional music. So all those acts, all other activities which are not related to meditation, when I am thinking during those activities, that is type 2 thinking. So there are two types of thinking. One during meditation, and second without meditation. But thinking which is not part of meditation. So this thinking during meditation is also like a trail which takes you out of forest. When you are lost in deep forest and you are looking for a way out, and all you have are your legs, you cannot fly, you have to rely on your legs, you have to walk. So the trail which takes you out of the forest, that is compared to thinking during meditation. And all other trails which do not take you out of forest when you are lost in forest, those trails are thinking without meditation. So just try to do a recap. In part 6 and 7 we have explored the possibility of staying out of trouble, and I remember I explained about desire and desireless. So who is desireless? Is it okay to be desireless? Do I want to be desireless? Who becomes desireless? Is it a weak, poor, resourceless becomes desireless, or acts being desireless? Or it is strongest, resourceful, rich who becomes desireless? If a fox cannot reach to grapes, then he says grapes are not sweet. That's why he is not trying to reach out to them. He is passing on. He is not interested in grapes. But he do not accept that he do want grapes. He tried to reach out to them, but he fell on his nose and on his ass, on his back. He broke his backbone, but he was not able to catch a single grape. He do not want to reveal the truth that he cannot catch the grapes, and he is pretending that he is not interested into grapes. So If you do not want to be desireless, or you do not know what is desirelessness, you have never experienced desirelessness, you are very attached to the present life you are in, and you want to follow people around you, folks around you, world around you. You do not want to risk the present convenience of life in order to find the possibility of a better life. So if you don't want to be desireless, then you may say you don't want to be desireless because you are not interested, or it is impossible to be desireless. A constant loser, if you don't want to fight anymore to achieve what he wants to achieve, he may retire from endeavoring and say that he is not interested anymore. He gave up because it is not possible to win. But in meditation here, we are trying to attempt what is impossible for many. So trouble is an imagination. There are facts, situations, circumstances, but there is no trouble. Trouble is a thought. Trouble is an imagination rising into an unhealthy self. So when you are entering into meditation, just try to sit silently. Let your senses engage into sense objects. Let your eyes look around. Let your ears hear voices, noise. Let your nose breathe. And you try to be yourself and let the body be itself. So you have so many desires. Have you asked yourself, do you really have so many desires? Or you have few selected desires? Who is desiring? Are you desiring, or your body is desiring? You want to see beautiful objects. Do you want to see beautiful objects, or your eyes wants to see them? You want to smell good odors, nice perfume. Do you want it, or your nose wants it? You want to hear nice music. Do you want to hear it or your ears want to hear them? The music tracks. Nice music. You want to eat delicious food. Do you want to taste that food or your tongue wants to do it? So, meditation is an opportunity for you to see what is going on. You can witness yourself when you try to enter into meditation. You have to stop and sit silently. Do not move your bodily parts. Rest them. Relax your body and its limbs parts. Then try to enter into meditation. Let your body be on itself and you be yourself. And flash back. Use the tool of thinking during meditation, because you are awake, you are trying to enter into meditation, you are not sleeping, you are not dreaming, you are not eating, you are not watching anything. Your eyes are looking, they are open, let them watch around. You are not listening any voice, noise. Your ears are doing that job, let them do that activity of listening, hearing. Your nose is breathing, you are not trying to inhale or exhale, it's happening automatically. You are breathing since the moment you came out of the womb of your mother. From the very first moment of your birth, you are breathing. You never attempted to breathe. Your body is doing it for you automatically. You don't need to work hard, sweat for breathing. It happens naturally. Now you are not eating either. You are trying to enter into meditation. So you have 5 senses. You have skin. All of the senses you have, you are not engaging them in their activities. You are trying to enter into meditation. You are trying to think on the subject you have decided to think upon for today's meditation, which is Stay Out of Trouble Part 8. On this subject I am trying to record myself now, and when you are hearing this recording, you will be entering into meditation and thinking on this same subject, Stay Out of Trouble Part 8. So your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, they are doing their job, they are engaging into their sense object. For example, right now I am sitting under the tree in the park here, and I see from very distance a human being, a man is approaching towards me. He will be walking on the footpath here. My eyes are seeing that. I am not seeing, my eyes are saying that. I am trying to speak on the today's subject of speech, Part 8, Stay Out of Trouble. And wind is blowing now little bit. I am sitting under the trees, surrounded by trees, so even if it is a very hot day today, August 14th, Friday, it's 5 o'clock in the evening, 5 p.m. It's even if it is a hot day, I don't feel that scorching heat because I'm surrounded by trees. Now the cool air is flowing and it's touching my skin, and my skin is experiencing the touch of the wind. So my skin is engaging into its object of touch, feeling the touch of the wind. I'm not doing it, I'm doing nothing. I'm trying to speak on the part 8 here. So this is the beginning of meditation. This happens when you're trying to reach out the entrance of meditation. There are no thoughts coming in me. I am just engaged to speak on how to stay out of trouble. And when the thoughts are not coming, then there is a silence. I am witnessing that there is a silence. I am silent. After few seconds pass by, then one thought comes and I speak it in this microphone which is in my right hand. I am not preparing before speaking. I am thinking out loud in this microphone. I have not prepared any notes. I don't have any note written in front of me while I am recording this audio. I am thinking out loud. So I want you to attempt this way of meditation. Sit silently in your house, on floor, in chair, lie down on the floor. However you feel comfortable, you can situate yourself and try to enter into meditation and think during meditation on the subject you have decided to think upon. At present, I have decided to think upon the subject of staying out of trouble, part 8. So, in the previous part 7 and part 6, I have explained that how you will feel if you will be a creator of this, if you will be the creator of this earth for one day. How you would like to associate with this planet? Will you like to enjoy, provide service, or just travel around? I hope you have played that quiz in one of your meditations. And also I have explained that how you can be desireless and what will happen if you will be desireless. So let us think about it. So desireless does not mean that we will desire to not eat food, we will desire to not drink water, we will desire to not sleep and get proper rest. No. Being desireless means do not desire which is not worth desiring. Desireless means do not desire anything which is not necessary. You should desire clean water because it is necessary to live. You should desire healthy food because it is required to hold on this body, to hold on the life. You should desire a proper shelter so that you can protect yourself in storm, rain, heat. So you can get proper rest at night, in day. You should desire proper clothing so that you can protect yourself from cold, heat, rain. Food, shelter and water. These are basic necessities of life. They are not desireless. Then what is desireless? Extra unnecessary collection of anything is desireless. You should not desire extra collections, unnecessary collection. And when you will stop running around unnecessary desires, then you will save yourself from wasting your energy. You will save yourself from wasting yourself. So yourself and your energy are same. They are non-different. You are an energy. What is life? Life is an energy. What is energy? Energy is action. Energy is movement. Energy is change. What happens when someone dies? Dead body never moves on itself. No action. Within dead body. Dead body will never stand up. There will be other bacteria in the dead body, but that bacteria is a separate group of living entities. They are separate living bodies within a dead body. So dead man never comes back to tell us what happened to him after his death. So when you are trying to enter into meditation, thinking upon the subject of your choice, you can stop and feel that pause, stop in your life. You can be in that very second minute, hour of your meditation when you are thinking and not thinking. When you are not thinking, you are feeling that stop, that pause, because you are not thinking. Your nose is breathing, you are not breathing. Your eyes are looking, you are not looking. Your ears are hearing, you are not hearing. Your tongue is silent, it's not speaking. Your skin is engaged in its object of feeling the air, feeling the temperature of the atmosphere. You are not feeling, your skin is feeling it. All your senses are engaged into their sense objects, and you are not engaged. Your body is engaged. So this is how you will try to witness yourself when you are entering into meditation. So you will be witnessing yourself when you will not be thinking in meditation, and when you will be thinking in meditation, you will be thinking on the subject of your choice. So you can also try to find out who is thinking. That is you. You can witness yourself because your senses are engaged in sense objects, and you are thinking, and you are also witnessing, realizing, knowing that you are thinking, and your senses are engaged into their sense objects, and you are not engaged along with them. So if something bad happens, as per our education and training, we think, oh, I got in trouble. So the very imagination of trouble is from the training and education we got. So we are being trained to be in trouble. You are trained to be in trouble. You were educated to get into trouble. It does not mean that you were educated to get in trouble. When you think trouble is the actual fact, you were educated to get into imaginary trouble. You were educated to get into mental trouble. You were educated to get into trouble created by yourself. You were educated to create an imaginary trouble. So trouble is existing on the platform of thoughts. Trouble does not have any existence in this world. There is no tree called trouble. There is no stone called trouble. There is no actual physical material object called trouble in this world we live in. Trouble is a thought. Trouble is an imagination. So when you are thinking on the subject of getting away from it, you have to analyze yourself. You have to witness the process of thinking within yourself. You have to witness yourself and your body. Mainly when we are living life, mainly when you are living life, you are being trained, educated to be along with your senses. You are educated to think with your eyes. When you are seeing or looking, you were taught that you are looking. You were not educated that when you are looking, your eyes are looking. You were educated that you should think, you should identify yourself with your eyes. So you started identifying yourself with your eyes. So whenever you saw any beautiful object, you thought that you were looking that beautiful object. But in reality, you were not looking that beautiful object. Your eyes were looking at that beautiful object. When you were tasting delicious food, you were educated to think that you were tasting that delicious food. But in fact, in reality, you were not tasting that delicious food. Your tongue was doing that job. Your tongue was enjoying that delicious food, and it was served to your body, and your body was nourishing, getting healthy, stronger, growing on that food intake. So this entrance into meditation will allow you to witness how you are different from your body. So I would highly recommend that you should have this pause, stop during your meditation when you are thinking upon the subject of your choice and trying to enter into meditation. Feel that pause of non-thinking. Feel that stop of non-thinking. Witness who is living in this world. Witness your existence. Witness your individuality. Witness that you are here. You are alive. You are not dead. You are not asleep. You are awake. Witness you are awake. You are here. Witness it. So this entrance into meditation will provide you the opportunity to witness yourself. This pause, stop of non-thinking during the meditation will empower you to realize the difference between yourself and your body. So when you are thinking during meditation, you can experience that desires are not necessary. When you will have the pause and stop of non-thinking during your meditation, you will realize the power of desirelessness. You will save yourself by being desireless. If you will stop running after desires, then you will save your energy. Therefore, you will save yourself, because there is no difference between yourself and your energy. I am really earnestly requesting you to experience pause, stop of non-thinking during the meditation. Yes, trouble is imaginary. Trouble is non-existent. Trouble is your thought. Trouble was taught to you. Society, education system have taught you to invite thought of trouble. But now you know trouble is an imagination. So sit silently, try to enter into meditation. There are two activities in the meditation. One, thinking on the subject of your choice, and two, non-thinking, which is a pause or stop. From thinking. So think about it. You are complete. You are unique. You do not need desires to make you complete. If you will add desires to you, you will be incomplete. If you invite desires within yourself, then you will lose your real self. The vast, unlimited network of desires is eternal. There is no end to the network of desires. If you fulfill one desire, there will be another one, and this cycle goes on. Life after death, death after life. This body and that body. This is a very big cycle. The chain of desire is eternal. But you can break it anytime you want. You can stop this never-ending cycle of desires anytime you wish. So there is a way to be desireless, to uncover your real self to you. There is a way that you can be yourself. To achieve yourself, you must enter into meditation and be yourself. I hope this talk has helped you. I wish that you will enter into meditation. I would like to stop here. I will continue the talk on stay out of trouble. Until then, namaste.